Serena, it's so great to have you here.
Oh, it's so great to be here.
So 5 years since Harmony came out, and I've been a fan of your music for a very long time. I remember when you played the Newfoundland Labrador Folk Festival,
So
like
fun.
all by yourself.
Oh my gosh, that was one of the most exciting times I've ever had on stage. The most satisfying times I've ever had on stage. That was so you were there?
I was there, yeah.
That was one of my favorite performances ever for me, for an audience. It was so amazing and interactive and awesome, and I felt, I just felt
like now you have this huge band behind you, and I just remember back then, like you can do you still perform solo every now and then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you like it?
Yeah,
Absolutely. But I will say that Harmony really felt like it catapulted you to a new height that I hadn't seen you have before. And now this interview is going to air on release day. This new record, this new baby is going to hit the world. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling excited.
Yeah?
Excited, nervous a little bit.
Yeah.
It's
Why?
because you want people to love what you have created as much as you love it. You never know if it's going to happen. But the thing is with my last record with Harmony, it's like, I didn't know that people would really like it. And actually, to tell you the truth, I was playing the songs to different people. I played songs for people at different labels and different people in, different groups or whatever. And nobody really kind of freaked out about it.
No one said like this is the one.
No one said, it was like, oh yeah, this is like, I remember when I first played Stompa to people at like the label and stuff, and they're like, yeah, that's cool.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's cool.
Because as soon as I heard it, and I not that I know any more than anybody else, because God knows I don't. But I remember when I heard Stompa for the first time, I said, oh, this is... she did it.
Yeah.
She did it.
Well, I didn't know, and most people didn't know, but I feel like the people that knew were the people that were listening, to the radio. It was really kind of like a fans record, or people that were music lovers that were the ones that catapulted it. So
does that
never
change?
Really know.
Does that change how you make this record? Because if you're listening to this, you don't know. Stompa was this huge hit that Serena Ryder put out. Big hit in Canada, big hit in the United States. Not everyone can claim a hit like that to themselves. Well, how did you handle it when it happened?
I think that I was really, I was really busy touring and stuff and just having a really good time. I didn't really notice it as much as everybody else did. I didn't listen to the radio really.
Thanks.
Wow.
Well, that's all right. Me neither. It's okay.
I wasn't really listening to the radio. I mean, I heard it, I think once. The one and only time I heard it, like the first time was in like a health food store in my neighborhood.
Right.
But what was the question?
How did you handle after years of just slugging it away and playing festivals and it's slowly building an audience, all of a sudden it just kind of explodes with this one song?
Well, I feel like it was kind of a process of little steps. I don't feel like it actually just exploded. It did for a certain group of people because I had fans, and I've been playing, live and stuff since I was very young, and touring. I started touring when I was 17 years old and doing the one, fan at a time kind of game, and not game, but just like playing clubs and bars and pubs and doing my thing. And at that point when it came out, it was like, it felt like it was just another step for me.
And did it feel like your life changed afterwards?
I felt like I really loved the tour. It was really fun. And I think the way that my life changed was maybe that people knew the words to my songs, like I got definitely about twice as many fans,
right?
Just from that song, which was amazing.
And does it impact this new record? Like, obviously, I don't want to ask whether you feel any pressure, because obviously that song has to be in the back of your head somewhere. But is that a good thing or a bad thing in making a new record?
I mean, it can be both. I mean, to have the pressure of like wanting to do just as well or do better than you did before, that's always really good. But then when it's always in your mind and you feel like you need to match something, there's no originality in that. So I feel like for me, it was a constant reminder of just like, when I first started writing for this new record, Utopia, I wasn't even thinking about creating a new album. I was writing just for the sake of writing because I loved doing it, and I fell back in love with it after not doing it for so many years and touring Harmony. So I wasn't really thinking about that when I wrote this particular record.
Yeah, because you write so much when you're not on the road,
right.
and you are an incredible songwriter, and then you go out on the bus, and you don't get to do the one thing you're best at, the one thing that, well, not that you're not the only great at songwriting, but you don't get to do the one thing that you love to do.
Well, I could do it if I wanted to.
It's not easy.
But I don't really want to when I'm touring, It's like, when I'm playing shows and talking about stuff and performing, it's like that's really, really fun for me to do. You know, being on tour and having an audience and playing festivals and being able to hang out with my band. When I'm at home, it's like I don't really hang out with that many people. Like I'm like a pretty big recluse in general. You know, I have like 3 friends. You know,
Well, 4 now.
4.
Aw.
Shucks.
So that when you go into the studio, there's no part of you that's, well, there was never a part of you that said, well, you know, Stompa did really well. I kind of got to do that again.
No, that I don't feel like I had to do that. For me, like I wanted to create something that I loved and that was new for me. I think thinking of, obviously I want to have just as much success, you know, as I did.
What's success for you?
Success is enjoying being on the road and enjoying doing what you're doing,
Right.
you know, enjoying being in the moment where you're at. It doesn't really mean that much more to me.
It doesn't
you know?
mean album
It doesn't
sales.
mean
It doesn't
album
mean-
sales.
right.
In general, it's like, do you like the music that you're playing? Do you like, you know, the people that are coming out that you're interacting with? Do you like the people that are around you? Are you having a good time?
And speaking of that, I know that a lot of the press around harmony, if you don't mind me saying this, you spoke a lot about how you were dealing with some very serious depression. You were dealing with some mental illness. I should ask, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, you feeling all right? Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, it's like an up and down thing. It's something that I go, you know, up and down. I have my entire life.
Yeah. Well, people think it goes away.
People think it goes away,
Yeah.
you know, and sometimes it does for long periods of time, and sometimes it comes back. But it's also, you know, people are always like, oh, you know, just talk about it, and it'll get better just by talking about it or coming out and talking about it. And it's like, it kind of is super, super stigmatized. And sometimes I feel like, you know, our mental health, you know, system is totally screwed up. And it is stigmatized, and I feel like I don't know what my position is on it anymore.
Well, I know that, like, I know I've been able to get help for things that I've had to deal with because I'm in an incredibly privileged position where I have a job and I have access to mental health,
Right.
you know, support if I need it. But there's lots of
Right.
people. The unfairness I feel is that there's so many people who have to wait 9, 10, 11, 12
Right.
months, 2 years
Yeah.
just to
And
see
is that
somebody.
something that you've had to struggle, like you've struggled with?
Yeah,
yourself?
I mean, I've struggled with a lot of different kind of mental illness, but it's more along the lines of like I was able to see someone in a couple of weeks.
Right, exactly. And then some people have to wait months and months and months, or you see one person and then they send you to another person, they send you to another person, and then you start all over again.
Yeah, or you have people trying to tell you just think happy thoughts.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
It's total.
Total. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot out there right now of that is a bunch of, so I think it's really important to figure out, you know, your best route, but that's also really hard too. I don't know.
And I tell you what's really hard is even talking about this now, like people are going to hear this and,
Yeah.
and people are going to have, are going to relate to it or they're not going to relate to
Exactly.
it. But you are a spokesperson for Bell Let's Talk,
Right.
and which is a campaign around mental health awareness. And that is a scary thing to do. It can be a scary thing to be a public face and it adds a responsibility. Are you feeling any of those things?
From what I've experienced from being a part of Bell Let's Talk has always been like people coming up to me and saying thank you. Like,
Right.
thank you just for telling us your story. Because for me, you know, and I'm sure for you and I'm sure for everybody out there, it's like the worst thing about it is feeling like nobody else knows how you feel at all, you know? And that's, you know, to know that there's other people out there experiencing it. But still, what the hell are you supposed to do about that?
Well, but
You know?
but is it daunting
is.
when people tell you their stories? I mean, it's also tough to hear them
Yeah.
sometimes. You know,
Yeah.
not that you're unsympathetic, but you take that on when people tell you the stories of their own self doubt
Yeah.
and their own depression.
Well, I haven't really had that many people telling me that their stories as much as telling me, you know, that they just appreciated that I told mine, which is cool.
Did any of this fit into the making of the new record?
Oh, God, yeah.
Did it feel different? Or no, it felt similar.
Well, no, it was a total different process from my last record, but my emotional ups and downs are a part of my life.
Right.
You know, they're a part of everything. And I wrote this record over the course of 3 years. So I had 3 years of moods and emotions and, you know, ups and downs to write about. So it wasn't, you know, a period like my last record, Harmony, I wrote in a period of like 3 weeks.
Right.
This record was 3 years, and I wrote almost 100 songs in that period.
How do you whittle almost 100 songs down to the ones? How many did you get on the record?
Well, there's 17 altogether.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Yeah. That's a value judgment on my part.
That's pretty good.
You know what? Good number. 17.
Yeah, good
solid number for sure. How do you get? What is it?
Well, I write a lot of really terrible songs as well.
Right. I can usually get mine from 60 to 0 just by doing that.
No, but I do write a lot of really terrible songs.
Right.
I should put out an album of terrible songs as well.
Do you know they're terrible, or do folks tell you?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I know which ones are terrible.
Right.
But no, I wrote a lot of really awesome songs that I loved, and I actually wanted to put out 3 albums at once.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like a Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness
exactly.
Serena Ryder record. But how did you did you just whittle them down to the best, or were there songs you didn't want to put on there for other reasons?
Yeah, no, I whittled them down to the ones that I loved the best, for sure. And it's kind of feels like an album of, not that I would consider every song a single. I don't even know what the hell that means, but
especially.
Yeah, right.
I mean, well, Drake had 10 songs on the top 20.
Yeah,
it's like his entire record.
Yeah.
What does a single mean anymore?
Yeah, I don't know, and it doesn't have to be a certain style. It doesn't have to be upbeat. It doesn't have to have whatever. It can be like basically a voice and like a shaker in the background and a little,
I see you've been listening to my record. That's really great. No, sorry, but go on.
Yeah, but I feel like my album is kind of like that because I wrote it over a period of 3 years. I did a lot of traveling. I had a lot of experiences and stuff like that. It's kind of like an album of singles in general because I was in different places, literally in the world, emotionally and physically, when I wrote it. But like this album was a lot more fun for me to make because there's so many, kind of dancey tracks on it as well. Like there's a lot of gigantic songs too where I was like, okay, well, if I'm writing this, why not write to a place that I want to play? Like, okay, let's write a stadium record. So I have like a few stadium songs where I could like picture myself running around a stadium and like singing the words and that kind of vibe. And then there's like super ballady songs too.
And does that change your writing? Like when you write that way, that you wanted, like, do the songs come out a little bit differently? Because when your first couple of records, I just see you there with your acoustic guitar singing out your emotions.
Yeah.
And now you're singing for scenarios. You're singing for settings.
Well, on a few songs I was singing for settings, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, my emotions are what makes me who I am. So wherever I am, I'm a pretty big emotional person. But it was fun to, like, on a few songs on this record, put myself through like a daydream and be like, feel like when you're on stage and feel that daydream coming and be like, ooh, what would it be like to sing on, the Sky Dome? Oh, they don't call it the Sky Dome anymore.
We call it the Sky Dome.
Okay, cool.
We're doing Sky Dome here.
All right.
Or hashtag Team Sky Dome.
Oh, nice.
You're going to play at the CBC Music Festival.
I am.
In a couple of days.
Yeah.
You've been doing this since you were 17 years old. Is it still a nerve-wracking experience doing some of these songs for the first time in front of an audience?
Oh yeah, doing songs for the first time is for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and coming out with a new record and doing that, it's kind of butterflies more though. Like I know I love these songs. I know I love performing them with my band, and it's kind of more butterflies than anything. But you know what I'm really nervous about, but I'm excited about, is playing the kids stage.
Why is that?
Because they're my favorite audience.
Why are we whispering this?
I don't know.
No, let's keep going.
Okay, but I just really like playing in front of kids, and like if you suck, they just like walk away.
Oh yeah, I know.
They just walk away.
I'm with you.
They don't pretend.
Serena Ryder, I had the best time talking to you today.
Oh, thank you very much, Tom.
And congrats on the new record.
Thank you.